We're nearing the end of my prospect rankings for the 2024 NFL Draft, and we're doing it big today because the wide receiver class is so dang chunky. I'm going to give you a top 15, so without further ado, let's get this sucker started. With number 15, Jalen McMillan out of Washington, coming in at 6'1", 197 pounds, and that's right, the 15th wide receiver I have ranked is 72 on my big board. I'm telling you, it's kind of a good class. But when it comes to McMillan, he is a fairly solid athlete. I won't call him a top tier athlete, but he's a smooth athlete. Truly, truly smooth. Plays with good suddenness, good balance. You see his ability to create after the catch. Just quickly goes from pass catcher to ball carrier. This year, he missed some time with a knee injury. So going back and looking at 2022, he had 16 forced missed tackles. So you like that. But I'm not, when I say he's not like a top tier athlete, like he still has the ability, if you show him daylight, he can take it to the house. He still has that type of speed. It's just we're not talking about on like an elite level when it comes to him. He still has the ability to create, or to separate. And he's actually a very good route runner, very nuanced route runner. He does a good job of keeping tempo in his routes, maintaining speed. Does a good job of staying low, especially when he approaches the stem or when he has to come back to the quarterback. He's just very crisp as a route runner and just overall fluid as an athlete. Good stop-start ability as well. But this is a guy that's going to be living in the slot. For the last 2 years, he is established residence in the slot. In 2022, he was there 93% of the time. This year, he was there 89% of the time. So he's someone that's going to be playing the slot a lot in the NFL. I do think he looks like he has a thinner build despite coming in at 197, but I don't think he has that play strength to consistently get off a press. So again, we're going to kind of pigeonhole him there in the slot. And on top of that, he is a bit of a body catcher. If you look at just his drops the last couple of years, in 2022, it was 8.1% in terms of his drop rate. This year it was 10%. But again, working from a bit more of a limited sample size, though he did start 8 games, played in 11. I think he missed then altogether 4 this year with the knee injury. But man, it just because he got hurt, it kind of seems like he's the forgotten of the bunch there at Washington, which we'll talk about those guys later on this list. But man, I really get Jakobi Meyers vibes from McMillan. I just feel like he could come in the league and be a solid wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, very similar to what Meyers was with New England and what he is now with the Las Vegas Raiders. At number 14, I have Troy Franklin Jr. out of Oregon, coming at 6'2", 183 pounds, currently 61st on my big board. And it was a bit of a strange year for Troy Franklin. Still very productive, had over 1,300 yards, 14 touchdowns. And you still saw a lot of the things that makes you like Franklin. Like, he's a very well put together as a route runner. Uses his length and quick feet to get off the line of scrimmage. You see a nice release package from him. And despite running a smaller route tree there at Oregon, you could see the nuance as a route runner, and that just got much better this season. It truly, truly did. His understanding of leverage, and you definitely saw a bit more of how he can utilize extra space to create a better passing lane for his quarterback, so to speak. Just a better catch radius for his quarterback. I think he does a good job of that, and he's a long strider. He's a cat that can hit you with that long speed. He had the 4.4 140. So yeah, I think if anything, and that's why my comp currently is Darius Slayton for him. If anything, he's going to be a consistent vertical threat in the NFL. He's also a guy that's shown a little bit of creativity after the catch. 14 forced missed tackles this past season. He's shown the ability to tightrope the sideline and just get that extra 5 to 10 yards. However, he did take a big step back in terms of the ball skills. Like, because coming into the year, man, I was like, this is a sure-handed athlete. He only had a 3% drop rate in 2022. He did a really good job of effectively high-pointing the football and just winning jump balls. He was, 63.6% on contested catches. He was just a nightmare in the red zone, and that was still the case this year. 7 red zone touchdowns, so half of his touchdowns came there in the red zone. And I mean, you could go look at his highlights. He has a variety of just acrobatic and big time catches. However, it was a bit shocking that the ball skills in general were very, very much so down this season. That 3.2% drop rate jumped to 10% this season. That 63.6% contested catch rate fell to 36.8%. So I'm kind of feeling that it's like, okay, maybe they were just down this year. You know, he does have the ability to be a really good hands catcher. So maybe I'm not too worried about that. The hands are a little bit smaller than we like. So I don't know, maybe that'll cause some inconsistencies in that area for him. But he is a dude that needs to put a little bit more mass on his frame. He's got a thin frame, thin build. You worry about the play strength. And there's going to be, like, he's not ever going to be the greatest run blocker in the world. And you're going to worry about, can he make it out there on the outside with the lack of physicality, the lack of play strength. But again, this is a guy with subtle feet. He showcased a variety of different release packages during the last 2 seasons at Oregon. I'm not too worried about that, but I just couldn't really put him much higher than this because it's a really good wide receiver class. There's a lot of guys that I like here, so just continue to talk about them. And we're going to continue with number 13, Malachi Corley out of Western Kentucky, coming in at 5'11", 215 pounds. Yes, he is built like a running back. He is only a whopping 2 spots higher than Troy Franklin. So again, I have a lot of these guys fairly close to one another. And he is a yak weapon. Like, if a team got him in camp and were like, hey, we're just going to go ahead and move you to running back, it wouldn't surprise me any, because the best things that he does are running back things. Like, the contact balance is out of this world. He had 15 forced missed tackles this year. That was a whopping 40 forced missed tackles the year prior. 41 forced missed tackle. No, it was 40. Because he has 55 forced missed tackles over the last 2 seasons. It's just insane. He's able to eat contact. He has a very strong lower body. He just keeps the feet moving through contact. He has the ability to kind of like shake defenders and make them miss if he needs to. And he's not afraid of lowering the shoulder. He feels like a running back. And it's kind of wild because he is a bit of a radically different athlete with the ball in his hands than when it's not. And it's kind of the receiver stuff that I worry about with him. And we'll kind of get back to some of the things I like, but let's just kind of run through why I'm just, I guess, not necessarily as high as maybe some of the general consensus on Corley. He ran a very limited route tree at Western Kentucky. We're talking screens, slants, and goes. I think it was about 40% of his volume, his targets were like screenplays, which is kind of wild. This is a guy that has primarily played in the slot his whole career. So we're talking 93.7% of his career, his snaps came out of the slot. So this is a dude that didn't really have to see press a ton. And you go to the Senior Bowl, you saw there were times where he did struggle with press. There were other times where he just really showed that play strength to just mowed through guys. But you're kind of curious, will this be something he can do consistently? And as a route runner, he is a bit rounded on his routes. He's not the most nuanced route runner. If anything, it really feels like you're kind of starting with the bare bones and having to teach him how to be just a better route runner. If anything, he is just a yak weapon at this point, and for good reason. Like, again, the contact balance is nuts. The stop-start ability is nuts. The change of direction, it's great. And, I mean, dude, the dude's got very good hands, solid hands. over the course of his career, 4.8% drop rate. He's not afraid to like make catches in traffic. Something he's shown the ability to do. It's just he's going to be kind of limited in what you can ask him to do. I think right from the get-go that you're going to have to scheme up a lot of production for him early on. And I feel like you can maybe go the Antonio Gibson route with him, though Antonio Gibson was a bit of a different body type, but making that move from wide receiver to running back, and I kind of like that. I went with Trevor Sikkema's comp, shorter Laviska Shenault Jr. Shenault Jr. was essentially just a yak guy coming out. He fell for different reasons because of I think it was like injury concerns with him, but you knew with the ball in his hands, he could be a nightmare to deal with. And I kind of feel the same way about Corley. Some people want to throw the Debo comps out there, and that's just too much for me. I can't throw a Debo comp on Corley. I feel like Debo, we're talking about one of like the best football players in the National Football League. Like, that's a lot of pressure to put on a guy, and I mean, Debo's just a different animal, just is. But Corley is very, very good in his own right. Listen, I know you love the NFL draft as much as I do, and you're going to want a nice, hefty watch list of players during this college football season. Well, go ahead, check out my draft guide. You can purchase it for only $30 by Venmoing or PayPaling me. Links in the description. It's a one-time payment, and you get it for this whole draft cycle and forever and always, technically. It's a Google spreadsheet, so send me your email when you send the payment. I'll get you hooked up. You will see my current prospect rankings and big board, my full evals. And guess what? It updates throughout the whole draft cycle. So it's a great purchase, and it's a great way to support the channel. At number 12, I have Roman Wilson out of Michigan, coming in at 5'11", 186. He's 51st on my big board, and golly, had a great Senior Bowl. Truly did. A lot of people going to bring up the rep at the end of, I believe it would have been day 2 of the Senior Bowl, where him and Keon Mitchell went one-on-one. Unfortunately, Keon slipped. Kind of is what it is. But Roman Wilson's nice, man, and I get why a lot of people like him. He does give me very like Jaden Reed vibes, especially after their Senior Bowl performances. And they just have a very similar skill set. Like, Wilson is a very sharp route runner, but he also pairs that up with blistering speed. Like, he can create separation initially, and then if it's going to be a deeper route, he can literally just fly by you. He really can. He brings also pretty decent change of direction, though I would say he's more of an explosive athlete than he is like quick or like lateral agility and whatnot. But he brings sure hands. Like, looking at his drop rate this past year, 2%, but we'll kind of talk about some of the concerns I have when it comes to him catching in the NFL. But good drop rate, even at his size, lack thereof. He's a very good contested catcher. He'll go up and get the football. Like, almost no problems. Like, over the course of his career, 69.2% contested catch rate for a player at that size is a hella good. Like, really good. And in general, he's just a quarterback's best friend, man. He knows how to work back to the play, knows when the quarterback's in dire straits, and just kind of becomes a good security blanket in that regard. However, he is someone I'm kind of curious. Can he stick it on the outside consistently? I feel like he might be more of like someone who will be playing like 35, maybe 40% on the outside, while a larger part of the time he's going to be kicking in to the slot. He just doesn't have that play strength. He does lack ideal size. He also lacks ideal length. Like, the short arms have shown up. They really have. His ability to get off the line, his ability to create separation with those arms, his ability to even bring in catches. Because this is a dude that has shown inconsistencies dropping the football in the past. A lot of times you'll see him bobble it and whatnot. But, like, all in all, like, Jaden Reed, second round pick. Romo Wilson, probably going to be a second round pick. He is a hella good. And again, it's that vertical ability and capability that he has that'll make him so sought after. At number 1, I have Jalen Polk out of Washington, coming in at 6'1", 203 pounds. He is currently 47th on my big board, so that's right. I have 11 receivers inside my top 50, and I know the Van Jefferson comp isn't very encouraging, but follow me with it as we talk about Polk. As golly, man, Polk really shined this season. When McMillan went down, Polk stepped up, grabbed the ball, and just continued to run with it. There's a lot to like about Polk. I think he can be a very high-end wide receiver too in the NFL. He shows very good short area quicks, good explosiveness. The dude's Jacksonville, doesn't mind just getting physical with defenders. He will not let himself be bodied at the catch point, and he's just really tough to bring down after the catch. Like, he's a guy that just can eat contact. He's not afraid as a run blocker. And I think a lot, like, because I'm not worried about the physical makeup or his explosiveness. But when it comes to his release package, a lot of times you just see the hanging hands. You just see the him playing a little bit tall. So it's really just kind of like giving the corner leverage on top of having late hands and letting them get hands on you first. He's kind of just giving the corner every advantage. So that's why I say his release package could use some work. That's right. That's some with the W there. I'm sorry. Typos happen. It is what it is. But I love this dude's hands. Golly, man. I think what is it, a 5.3% drop rate over the course of his career. His contested catches here was 54.2%. He is someone who has improved every year and has become kind of a true rebounder there in the red zone, and someone that is just has no problem getting up there and contesting the catch point. He's got the flexibility to work both inside and out, and he might not be the most crisp route runner, but he's a hell of a good route runner. He knows how to fluctuate his speed. He knows how to change the tempo of the routes. He's not afraid to make the catch in traffic. There's just so much to really, really like about Polk. However, again, he's not an elite athlete. Like, he doesn't have blazing speed. I mean, 4.52, that's solid, but it's not blazing speed. He's not the twitchiest guy. He's not going to shock you with his stop-start ability. That's just not him. That's not who he is. There are also times with, I love his hands. I think he did a better job of high pointing and getting to the football. There are times where he will just let the football kind of come to him. So he's still learned to be more of a natural ball catcher, but I think he's come a long way. And this year was just such a step up from what we've seen in years past from Polk. Big fan of him. Again, the Van Jefferson coming into the league, he felt like one of the more polished guys. And I know I said Polk wasn't like the most crisp route runner, but he's definitely someone who's pretty darn close. Like Van Jefferson coming in, you're like, man, this is a guy that could probably be a quality wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. This is someone you just want in your wide receiver core because you're thinking they could probably produce. They're going to give your quarterback a secure weapon. I know Van Jefferson hasn't really been that in the last couple of years, but he does remind me a bit of him coming out of Florida there. At number 10, I have Xavier Worthy out of Texas. That's right. Speed kills, man. Broke the combine record in the 40-yard dash with a 4.21. Congratulations to Worthy. But he's coming in at 5'11", 165. So yes, very much undersized. Limited size, lack of play strength. Sometimes it feels like a mild gust of wind could knock Worthy down. It really does. Man, you see some of the hits he takes and just golly what it does to his body. It feels like he's going flying. But he is someone that has that after the catch ability. Like, don't get me wrong. He is definitely somebody who can just make you miss and then burn you with that speed. And in general, he is an incredible athlete with the speed, with the quicks. He is playing on fast forward. He is playing on ×2. That is the type of play speed we're talking about with Worthy. He's actually a pretty darn solid route runner as well, bringing in that change of direction, the stop-start ability, tracks the ball really well when it's in air. He brings really good return experience as well. Like, there's a lot to like about him. And when you go to the cons, like, I guess the biggest part will be the size. The size is something that will be a bit of a concern. But even if you get past that, you don't like his lack of hand usage during routes. I think part of that is just not necessarily a lack of physicality, but just he's just not as strong as most of the guys he's going up against. But I will say, man, he attacks the catch point hella well. He will go up and get it. He will high point the football. He's got legitimate bunnies, legitimate hops. See, Gojo agrees as well. I will say there's sometimes some easy drops he has on film, like just maybe like focus drops, or even going like, I know I bring up like 2022 and like going downfield wide open, just goes through his hands. I know he was working with a broken hand, but still, even in a fully healthy year, those numbers have been considerably down since he was a freshman and he was a first team All Big Ten and also won Big 12 Offensive Freshman of the Year. So like, and it's not just that, it's also the forced missed tackles. Like, I'm gonna be honest, man, I don't think his freshman year was phenomenal. And everything after that's just been, man, you were really good that freshman year, though. Not to say what he's put on tape isn't good. Still hella good. But it does leave you scratching your head. It does leave you wondering. I think Hollywood Brown is kind of the perfect comp for Xavier Worthy. We're talking about an undersized speedster. Feels like Hollywood Brown to me, currently 37th on my big board. At number 9, I have Keon Coleman out of Florida State, coming in at 6'3", 213 pounds, and he is just a great combination of size, strength, and explosiveness. Truly, truly is. He's someone that is just hard to bring down because that boy is thick. He is tough to bring down. Not necessarily like a make you miss guy, but he is someone that can give you a little shimmy and force you to miss. Though I wouldn't say he has like ideal yak ability. That's kind of not what he is. He's more of this like big possession receiver, your prototypical X. That's more so of what we're talking about, but comes in with a huge catch radius. Very, very sure hands. Had only a 3.8% drop rate this past season. The contested catches were a little bit down, but again, in the past, they were pretty darn solid. So if we're going to average those out, he's around that like 50%. So I'm not at all too worried because I like how he attacks the football when it's in air. He is able to create separation at the catch point with just very subtle hands and strong hands. And he doesn't just have sure hands, but like he can make very athletic catches as well. When it comes to him as a run defender, yeah, he can remove you from the run game. He's got that size. The biggest question with Keon Coleman was speed, because I was like, you know what? This looks like a guy that could sneak into the 4.4s on film. Because I know people are going to be like, okay, well, separation, he struggles to separate, so it must mean he's not fast. I don't think that's necessarily the case. Obviously, you look at the 4.6 one time, and you're like, okay, he's not fast. Then you look at the gauntlet drill, where he was the only receiver to crack 20 miles per hour. Like, okay, are you fast or are you not? What's going on here? He plays fast. Truly does. However, he can be a bit overtly physical during the routes, which that's going to lead to OPI. So, gotta watch out for that. And I think it's just he doesn't have that, like the footwork, the lateral quicks. It's not really there with him. Not to say it's like terrible. It's not. I just think it's fairly average for a player his size. It's more so he just doesn't do a good job of really selling his routes, whether it's with like shimmies and shakes, head fakes, and whatnot. He could definitely do a bit of a better job to create separation that way if he wants to be looked at as more than just a possession receiver and potentially a guy that could be maybe an alpha X in the NFL, then he's going to have to do that. Till then, I kind of like the Allen Robinson comp. Kind of feels on point. At number 8, I have Xavier Legette out of South Carolina, coming in at 6'1", 222 pounds. And the first thing we kind of should address here is this was a cat entering the year who didn't eclipse 200 yards in any given season, and then he pops off for over 1,200 this year. And it's like, why is that the case? Why didn't this cat see the field sooner? And part of that was, okay, buried by depth. He was a 4-star recruit. He probably could have transferred somewhere for more playing time, but he was like, no, I'm going to stick it out and I'm going to earn that starting spot. And then combination of injuries stemming from like motorcycle injury caused him to miss time. Didn't really get his chance to shine until the Gator Bowl in 2022, where he went off for 7 receptions, 78 yards, and 2 tutties. And he used that momentum to show out this season. He was freaking phenomenal. First off, you're going to love the build. 6'1", 222. Yeah, we thought he was bigger. Well, the dude plays big. I ain't worried about that. He's got a rare combo of size and speed because he's running 4.39. Absolutely nuts. And you know what? He looked it on the field. I think he was tracked at one point going, I don't have it here, I think it was up to like close to 23 miles an hour. The dude can fly. On top of that, not only can he fly, but he is the king of the contested catch point. This dude dominates the catch point. He dominates the contested catch. What was his drop rate this year? 2.7. He was close to 50% on contested catches. He plays with big hands. At least they feel big. Huge catch radius. And I remember we did the watch along for South Carolina, North Carolina to open week 1 of the college football season. And I was so sad that Juice Wells, is it Juice Wells? Yeah, Juice Wells got hurt, re-injured his ankle. I think it was his ankle, and left the ballgame. I was like, man, I really wanted to watch it because of him. I was a big fan of his tape the year prior. And then Xavier Legette took over. I was like, who is this guy? Well, look at this build. Who is this monster? Because this dude, it's not like he's all bark, no bite. He might just be bite. That's how good he is. And when he gets to top speed, he is tough to bring down. He had, 9 forced missed tackles? Yeah, good luck. Good luck slowing him down, let alone bringing him down. Honestly, a better route runner than you would expect at his size. He does a good job of like closing the cushion between him and the corner, and he just knows how to leverage corners. He knows how to stack them. Just uses his body really well. Wouldn't say he's like the most nuanced route runner just because he ran a very limited route tree there at South Carolina. Isn't very creative. After the catch, he's more so like, hey, I'm big and I'm going to hurt you. That's kind of who he is. And honestly, if you check out his X profile, it's kind of the same, man. This is a guy that likes to go hunting and whatnot. It's like, he is a man's man. And you're like, I'm like, all right, okay, I'm cool with it. It was, honestly, it felt like love at first sight when it came to Xavier Legette. I put the comp as Demaryius Thomas, maybe. I feel like that could be what we're looking at if team uses him effectively. I know DK's a little bit bigger, but you're going to be using them in a very similar regard. Yeah, they're going to be working with not limited, but smaller route trees, but they're route trees that they can succeed mightily at, just because of how big of an advantage they are when it comes to their size and their speed. At number 7, I have Ricky Pearsall out of Florida, coming in at 6'1", 189 pounds. You will notice he is a whopping 1 spot higher on my big board than Xavier Legette, and I'm gonna give you a spoiler. The next receiver on here is actually 1 spot ahead of Pearsall, because essentially I have these guys like they provide a little bit of something different, so kind of pick your flavor. That's kind of how I see those guys, at least in this regard. But Pearsall had a really solid year at Florida in 2022, and then he matched it this season, going for almost 1,000 yards. And this dude can just fly, man. He can fly. 4.41 40, just a natural separator, very good route runner, very crafty, very shifty, knows how to get skinny in between traffic, just very creative with how he creates separation. He's just shown like just great flexibility, just the ability to explode out of his breaks, and a very good release package, especially for his build being a little bit lighter, and might have some of the best hands in this class. 3% drop rate this past year, but he also has some of the most insane and impressive catches on tape. It's a legit highlight reel. Just go check it out. This man will go up and get the football. It's absolutely ludicrous, some of the catches he makes. He also has experience inside and out. He has experience as a punt returner, so you love it. However, he is a little bit thin for his build, and you're going to worry that he's going to have some trouble with physicality. We have seen him struggle in some regards to press sometimes, where he just kind of gets stymied during the route and just kind of struggles to get leverage or give in leverage. The contested catch numbers are pretty actually solid, but you are going to worry about him going to the NFL. It's a different beast. It's a different animal. Is that something he's going to still be able to be successful at? Kind of feel like could be someone who ends up playing a majority of the time in the slot, but I don't doubt that he potentially could play on the outside. There are times that he gets just too fancy as a route runner. He's just doing too much. And I would say the change of direction, like, it's alright. It's alright, at least on film. He tested out really well in the agility drills, but I still feel like it's like, I don't think they're that high end, but they're still pretty darn good, don't get me wrong. Then at number 6, I have Ladd McConkey out of Georgia, coming in at 6 foot, 186 pounds. He is 31 on my big board, so we've had 33, 32, and now we're here at 31. And he definitely feels like the most low ceiling, high floor player in this class, and kind of the Deontay Johnson comp I feel like is just on point. He is a solid all-around player that you could keep on the field all 3 downs because of his toughness, his grit, his ability to play bigger than what he is. He is very polished as a route runner. He isn't afraid to attack the middle of the field. He doesn't shy away from contact. He is just an absolute dog. Quite literally, he's a bulldog. And he has a track background. Shouldn't be surprising that he tested out really well. I think he had like the best, at least close to the best shuttle and 3-cone times of any of the receivers in this class. And you just see how explosive he is. You see his ability to go in and out of breaks. He just has a legitimate field stretching ability. He has great body control, good stop-start ability. He just combines all that with the ability to like fluctuate his speed, control the tempo of the route, shift through gears. He just is a smooth route runner. The feet are so quick, and it shines in every aspect of his game, man. He uses his quicks to get off a press, and you'll see the slicks in the route running. I mean, I am going to worry a little bit about his ability to stay on the outside because you're working with limited length. You may play big, but how will that stack up against the absolute dogs in the NFL? Are you going to be able to contend with that type of play strength, or is that something you're going to get forced into? We need this guy to have a little bit more free releases. So are you going to have to be, relegated to the slot or schemed up in any sort of way to be able to get that free release? So that's something I am a little bit concerned about, but we shall see. Legit make you miss ability. I love the yak ability. He was a little banged up this year, so it wasn't entirely like on full shine, but I mean, 9 forced missed tackles on 30 receptions is kind of hella good. So I don't mind. Very sure hands as well. However, I will say downfield, he has struggled to catch the football. I think part of that is him struggling to track the football when it's downfield. Like, he's someone that will be able to, like, stretch the field vertically and be a legitimate vertical threat. However, you look at in 2022, a 9.4 drop rate on downfield passes 20 yards or more. That number was at 25% this year. Granted, he did miss time. I'm doing the math in my head. Let's say it was like 5 games. Missed 5 games. So, still solid sample size. We're talking 9 games here. Do worry about just him doing too much as a route runner. I mean, it's cool that you're quick and all that, and you could just like put guys in a blender. But routes heavily, especially in the NFL, heavily depend on timing. You're not going to be able to do all that in the NFL. Again, I worry, but I'm not worried. Again, you go to the Senior Bowl and it's like you go to show that off. So I'm not too scared about it. But I love the Deontay Johnson comp. I think it is just wow. At number 5, I have Adonai Mitchell out of Texas, coming in at 6'2", 205 pounds. And I know you ain't gonna love the DJ Chark comp. Again, and people take comps too literal. I'm not saying this is what his production's gonna look like in the NFL. I'm just saying, I feel like these guys had very similar skill sets. The thing is, I have better faith in Mitchell to actually hit the crescendo, the climax of that skill set. Like there are years where DJ Chark was very good, and that's kind of where I'm pulling my comp from. So keep that in mind. Comps aren't like verbatim. This is how they're going to produce in the NFL. They're going to have the exact same career arc. They're not that. So we'll take them to heart. Plus, I'm also a guy that doesn't like to give out very like highly regarded comps. That kind of makes me queasy. Nonetheless, Adonai Mitchell legitimately can tear the top off of any defense with that 4.34 speed. He's tall, great catch radius, and he's hella fast. He's got hella quick feet. He can flat out fly, and it's not surprising that back in 2022 when he was with Georgia that they used him more in that regard as a vertical target, though he did show a little bit in the college football playoffs back in 2022 of what exactly he could be, and then he goes over to Texas, and does hella good. Really does. Does a good job of getting off press, whether it's with his hands, with the shimmy, with the shake. He has a very solid, we would say, release package there in that regard. He does a good job of keeping himself clean throughout the route. He's very smooth in and out of his breaks. He accelerates well. Overall, very crisp athlete, one of the best route runners, I would say, in this class. He also has displayed that great vertical ability along with sure hands, 1.8% drop rate this past year. So you love to see it. However, this is a dude that consistently attacks the ball when it is in air. He's just someone who just didn't really do that effectively enough. 36.4% contested catch rate. I feel like he's definitely capable of being better at that, so I won't worry too much about that. Also, not a guy that's going to create a ton after the catch. And part of that maybe is just like the contact balance is like fine enough. Like you kind of notice it during routes as well, so there might be a little bit of a concern there. I know some people might be concerned with the play-to-play effort. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not. He came out because people would start to notice oh man, this guy's not giving it his all play-to-play. And he came out and said, yeah, you're kind of right. There were some plays where I know weren't designed to me and weren't designed to come my way, where I gave only 50%. And you know why? I didn't want to come off the field. I didn't want to tire myself up and come off the field. I wanted to stay on the field every freaking snap of the game. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but yeah, no, just go out there and give a hundo, my friend. Give a hundo. I'm personally not worried about the effort concerns. I don't really think they're there. To me, the explanation made sense, even if it was like kind of a dumb excuse. I feel like it was like, okay, I get it. You just want to be on the field a lot. That makes sense to me. You can't do that in the NFL, and I'm sure he knows that. He realizes that. All in all, Mitchell, wide receiver 5 for me in this class, got a first-round grade on him. At number 4, I have Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU, coming in at 6'3", 209 pounds, and legitimately, I think this guy could have been a top 10 pick if he decided to go back to school. He would have been up there with Luther Burden and such in the 2025 NFL draft. But here he is. I mean, hey, shoot, your running mate in Malik Nabers, who we'll talk about later, is headed in the NFL. Your quarterback, Jaden Daniels, is headed in the NFL. So I get it. But Brian Thomas is a hell of a good athlete. Like, he is a great combination of size, speed, and length. Truly is. He is a long receiver. He is a tall receiver. He is a receiver with big old hands as well. Along with that, he has a basketball background and just good top end speed. Ran a 4.33 at 210 pounds essentially. It just combines that to be a very scary, very deadly vertical threat. Plays with legitimate bunnies in his shoes. Like, talked about that basketball background. He is a guy that can go up and get it. He was 53.8% on contested catches, and truthfully, he probably could have been better. We'll talk about that in a minute. But he regularly made the acrobatic catch there this past season. Great athlete, good stop-start ability, allows him to kind of get separation there on the routes. However, we'll talk about someone who still needs to become more polished as a route runner, but he has shown the ability to make plays after the catch, though it's still something that's coming together for him. That's the thing. This is a guy that's a little bit more of a work in progress than than the 3 guys ahead of him, but you feel like he has that ability to be a guy on that type of level. Like, it really feels that way, and that's why I put great athlete, untapped potential. And I mean, if we're going to talk about great athlete, untapped potential, Martavius Bryant's kind of that guy, right? Kind of that vertical threat. Now, kind of lacks nuance as a route runner. Not exactly the most like quick twitched athlete and whatnot, but something I think he'll get better at. I feel like he could definitely be a much better at the contested catch. A guy that just feels like a lot of the times he just kind of lets the ball come to him, and I want to see him be more aggressive at the catch point. Also, not a ton of experience versus press, and it not to say that he lacks physicality, but I think he could probably add a little bit more strength to be able to be more feared, not just at the catch point, but also getting off the line of scrimmage. Like, all in all, we're talking about a guy that if he goes top 10, I wouldn't be shocked, because the potential, the ability, it's there. At number 3, you got Odunze out of Washington, coming in 6'3", 212 pounds. Currently number 6 on my big board. He is just an elite combination of size, speed, and length. You'd be like, oh, well, 4.45, that's fine. The dude's like 6'3", 212 pounds. It's a very good speed at his size, and he is so dang explosive off the line of scrimmage. That 39-inch vert comes as no surprise. We knew this dude was explosive, and he just explodes off the line. He explodes in and out of his breaks. Quick strides, gets him to the stem, and his ability just to kind of like sauce defenders. He does such a good job of controlling the tempo of the route, just fluctuating his speeds, going through those different gears to keep the defender just off balance and keep them guessing. I really, really like that. People worry about, oh man, well, I mean, look at all the contested catches that came his way this year. And straight up, a lot of those weren't because Odunze wasn't getting separation. I'm just going to put that out there. But if anything, I think what made him, like, what caused him to jump the most, at least on my list, because coming to the year, I was like, yeah, this is a guy that could be a first rounder. I wasn't necessarily there because I felt like there was a lot of rawness to his game. And a lot of that stemmed from he feels like more of an athlete playing receiver. And then the hands came together this year. 3.2% drop rate, 74.1 contested catch. That's a ludicrous number. It might be, I know, one of the best numbers in this class. I think the only guy that challenges that is Cornelius Johnson with 81.8. So yeah, good on you, Cornelius. Out of Michigan, by the way. Got him more as a mid to late day 3 pick. But yeah, the hands were elite. His ability to go up and just get it, he was tremendous. Tremendous this season. He has that catch me if you can type of speed and will make defenders miss with suddenness, patience. He had 15 forced missed tackles this past season. So that was another thing. I was glad to see the yak ability go up with him. But for the most part, when he is a ball catcher or a ball carrier, it's more so I'm going to try to fly by you. But he has shown the ability to have a little bit of shimmy, a little bit of shake, and can make you miss. But more so, he's just going to try to fly by you, and I think that's fine. You can do a better job probably sinking the hips on like comeback routes or any routes that involve you coming back towards the quarterback. And also, the hands hang a little bit too low. In his release, typically you kind of want them not necessarily like perpendicular like this and whatnot, but you kind of want them at like a 45 to where you're a little prepared. I feel like I gotta stand up and show y'all, but like your hands shouldn't be down here. Your hands shouldn't be down here. At very least, I want to see this. You can go this, but this is fine. This is fine. Get ready. Reel up. So stupid. But yeah, Odunze's hella good. Who would have thought? Hella good. At number 2, I have Malik Nabers out of LSU, coming in 6 foot, 199 pounds, currently number 3 on my big board. Got the DJ Moore comp, because yes, he's a hella good athlete. Ended up running a 4.38, had a 42-inch vert, 129 inches in the broad. The guy's a phenomenal athlete, and I love it. I love it that his testing times matched up with some of the times LSU had for him. It's just nice. It's just nice because it sucks when you get times from the schools and you're like, okay, we're expecting them to maybe hit this, and then they proceed not to at the combine. It's like, ah! But yeah, no, man, Malik Nabers is fabulous. He's a wonderful athlete. He's an elite separator because he is that good of an athlete. Extremely quick feet. Just knows how to fluctuate that speed during the route. Explodes out of his brakes. Can win over the top. Can win over the middle. Could win short. He can win on all 3 levels of the field. The hands are sure. They're tried. They're true. 5.3% drop rate. You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. He also made some ridiculous catches this year. So you love them having a nice little repertoire of acrobatic and highlight reel type catches. Just does a good job of controlling his body on balls that might not be the most perfectly thrown. Dude can work inside and out, no problems. You kind of worry about him against press, didn't see like a ton of press this year, but in the times that he did, you worry about, okay, attacking with low hands. Does he have that physicality? Does he rely a little bit too much on the quick feet to try to get him out of the starting blocks, so to speak? So there will be that concern there, but I mean, he's such a phenomenal weapon. Dude had 30 forced missed tackles this past season. He's just such a crazy weapon, whether it's you're going to use him deep or you're going to use him as like an after the catch target. Like, he can do it. That's kind of scary. And it's not to say like this is a dude that can't be physical. Like, I think he does play more to his weight, and he has shown a little bit of power and a little bit of, hey, I'm willing to get physical. It's just you would like to see maybe a little bit more of that. Also, a guy is a route runner that not like he's a good route runner, but not like polished. He does rely a little bit more on just, hey, I'm more athletic than you, to create separation rather than trying to sell his routes or using his hands at like the break of the route to try to create a little bit of separation. Like, I didn't see it like on his comeback routes or anytime he was coming back to the quarterback. You didn't really see him go with like the flyby option where essentially you just kind of like, you kind of hook the defender and you kind of just like, hey, keep going that way and I'm going to keep going this way. Didn't really see that a ton. Again, he just tries to get by on that athleticism. Just so happens he's a hella good athlete. Another guy, hey, maybe it's just an LSU thing. They typically like to let the ball just fall to him, and you wouldn't mind him attacking the ball a little bit more in air. But he's my number 3 overall prospect. I'm kind of nitpicking at this point. The dude is phenomenal. At number 1, I have Marvin Harrison Jr. out of Ohio State, coming in at 6'3", 209 pounds. He is the number 1 overall prospect on my big board, and he's a hella good. I know you're going to look, oh, he didn't perform at the Combine or his pro day. I don't care. Watch the film. You don't need him to perform. He's bigger. He's stronger. He's faster. He's a hella good. Hella good. He is one of the best route runners in this class. Good luck jamming him at the line. You're not going to. He's long. He's strong. He's muscular. You're not going to be bodying this guy during the route. Sorry, not sorry. It's just not going to happen. His ability to sell routes with head fakes, shoulder fakes, false steps, whatever, how he uses his hands during the route, it's just phenomenal, man. He just consistently wins. He's able to stack corners, and he creates good room for his quarterback to drop it in to the bread basket. There hasn't been a better receiver the last 2 years against single coverage than Marvin Harrison Jr. And on top of that, he brings very strong hands, very sure catcher. I know the drop rate was a little bit higher than you wanted this year, but 6.1% over the course of his career. It's fine. He's good at the contested catch as well. He's shown the ability to make the acrobatic catch. I ain't worried about that. And on top of that, the dude blocks. I don't know, man. Brian Hartline, he just trains them boys at Ohio State to run block, so he can do it. He feels like he could almost do it all. Let's go ahead. Let's nitpick some things. Does he have elite straight line speed? No. Does he lack a little bit of ability after the catch? Yeah, he doesn't have like the greatest yak ability. It's fine. I don't care. Is he sometimes too physical during the route? Yeah, a little bit, but hey, when you're built like that, shoot, he could probably put a finger on the corner and they'll go flying. He's that strong. He's that big, that strong. AJ Green, that's my comp for him. And I don't know, some of the younger viewers might remember the later years of AJ Green. Go back and watch some early AJ Green. He was pretty freaking dominant. And that's how I imagine Marvin Harrison Jr. will take the league. Wow, I just went out and said it like that. But go ahead, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Who are some of your favorite receivers in this draft class? Fun fact, I still had 4 receivers inside my top 10. It broke my heart not to talk about Javon Baker. I'm a big Baker fan. There's Jermaine Burton. I think Johnny Wilson just missed the cut on top of Malik Washington. There's a lot of good receivers. I'm going to talk about them later this week when I get to my big board. And then I'll talk about some of my gems in this class. I got a lot of content on the way for y'all this week. If you want to look at some of my other prospect rankings, I'll leave them down here for you. But as always, until next time, be easy, my friends. Later.